World's largest economy, the United States of America, is running out of cash, and if they don't do anything about it before the 1st of June, the superpower could default. Hi, today on The Whole Story, we'll try to understand America's debt ceiling crisis. What is it? Why and how did they get here? And would America sink alone if it defaults? Let's start by understanding what the debt ceiling crisis is. The debt ceiling or the debt limit is a legal limit set by the US Congress on the amount of money the US government can borrow to pay its bills. What kind of bills? Paying for federal employees, the military, social security, education, infrastructure, scientific research, Medicare, interest on the national debt, tax refunds, among other things. The current limit, pay attention to this amount, the current limit is roughly $31.4 trillion, which, by the way, has already been breached in January. It means that America has already spent the money it needed to function. Now what next? There's a deadline to do something about it. Only two options: either increase the debt limit or suspend it to continue borrowing more money. That deadline is 1st of June. Now, America's Treasury says that it will run out of money as soon as June 1. The two parties, Republicans and the Democrats, are holding talks, but there's no deal yet. The two sides have to strike a deal in a matter of days before the country runs out of cash to pay its bills. You might wonder why the United States has accumulated such a massive debt. That's because America spends more money than it has. US's debt has increased under every single president since Herbert Hoover, the 31st US president. Biden is the 46th president. So far, the debt ceiling has been raised more than 100 times. So technically and legally, the US government cannot borrow any more money. So who is going to figure all this out? President Joe Biden and top congressional Republican Kevin McCarthy are talking to each other to fix this mess. They're trying to close in on a deal that would raise the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling for 2 years while limiting spending on most items. Now let's talk about the consequences. Will America default, and would it sink alone? Since this has never happened before, so it is not entirely clear how things would pan out. But a first ever American default would be unprecedented and possibly devastating to the country's economy. Experts have warned it to be catastrophic. White House estimates say that a prolonged default could cause 8.3 million job losses and a world-shaking recession. Moody's Analytics has estimated that a default of no longer than a week would lead to the loss of 1.5 million jobs. The government won't be able to pay millions of families, including social security beneficiaries, veterans and military families. A default could even lead to disruptions to government operations, could also impact air traffic control, law enforcement, border security, national defense and food safety. Now, what about the impact on the world? It remains to be seen what could possibly happen to countries like China, Japan, the UK, Luxembourg, whom US owes the most amount of debt. What about India? Now, experts say that as one of the fastest growing economies and a major player in the global market, India may experience both direct and indirect effects of the US debt ceiling crisis.